Okay, here we go.
Live.
Good morning, warriors. I wanted to briefly introduce our guest and tell you guys a little bit about her. Her name is Chantelle, and as a child, she was very aware of her spiritual connections and could recognize that many people in the world had no awareness of their direct connection to the divine, and how it caused fear and limitations in their lives. As a child seeker and an empath, she spent most of her time in her inner world, pondering life's purpose and the mechanics of creation, knowing that there was much more to life than what we were told by the schools and religious closet. Until 2013, she awakened to her life mission to serve in the evolution of humanity. During this great shift in human consciousness, she facilitates transformational healing and spiritual empowerment through merging spirituality and science, bringing forth empowering wisdom in her book, as well as her transformational work with her clients. She is a published author, spiritual guide, energy coach, and board certified consulting hypnotherapist. Let's welcome Chantelle.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, hi, Chantelle. Yeah, it's great. So, Chantelle, can you start off just by telling us a little bit about who you are and where you plan to see yourself and what your purpose is, and just a little brief summary.
Sure. I'm a mother, first and foremost. That's a big part of my life. I'm a wife, and I have a private practice, a hypnotherapy practice, which I just love working with people on that level. I wrote a book to help those who are seeking spiritually to kind of have a solid foundation for their spiritual exploration. Since I've been seeking my whole life, we're just always in communion, and I've always felt very connected and safe and secure with that connection. And I have had a very big awareness that most of us walk around completely unplugged from the magic of just being alive and being a human being. So I'm just very passionate about sharing spiritually empowering wisdom and helping people what they've already known but may have just forgotten.
Right. Excellent. That is so awesome. And you know, it's so true. Like when you realize that we're born to be alive, and if we can accept all of us, all of our imperfections, and even our pain and suffering, we all go through pain and suffering. If we can accept that as growth and lift each other higher, then you know, that's so powerful. What you're saying is we're born to be alive.
Yeah, and a lot of the taken in as children, really we're operating from unconscious programming instead of really consciously creating our experiences. So I'm also really passionate to manage their emotions, because most of us do not have any idea how to process emotions, and they're extremely powerful. They're gifts for this experience. And when they're stuffed down, they create a lot of density in our energy and in our energetic bodies, our hearts and our souls. And it keeps us in a path of resistance. Learning to process those so we're free flowing is also something I'm really passionate about.
That is so true. I told you I have a son with autism, and I believe wholeheartedly, I know that he is our teacher, and he has taught exactly that to us, is we need to listen to understand and be able to regulate our own emotions, right?
Yeah, and you said he has autism?
Yes.
Or that's such a wide spectrum, but
yeah. He struggles with autism.
I know that can be hard for you because as a mother, that's quite frustrating at times. And, so I actually work with mothers and fathers who it's that hard because you want to connect with them on that level, right?
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating and hard. So
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is great.
Yeah. Well, and he's taught me a lot about making a difference for others. So,
Mm-hmm.
to make a long story short, my husband and I actually founded back in 2005 a learning center for children in our community that neurologically weren't fitting the school system setting. So
Mm-hmm.
we created a learning center, and it's amazing because what it's doing is it's teaching children to be mindful of,
Yeah.
being accepted, embracing each other for their differences, um, feeling safe, feeling like they belong. And this program, I mean, it's so successful. We've had a few people follow our lead and create kind of the same little pods everywhere in Nanaimo for these kids that need it. And it's amazing. I mean, they're still running, and they're helping lots of children that have neurological, they're neurodiverse. They
Right.
just think differently. That's all. They see the world differently. They were born unique, more unique than us. So we have to enter into their world, is how I see it, and connect at their level, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So you work with a lot of families with.
I don't do families together, but I do one-on-one with people, and it's really frustrating. There's just a lot of them up with having children who are even ADHD or who are super hyper, and there's just a lot of things that because their children are challenging, whether they're in the perfect health or which there's but it does get a little more extreme when you're dealing with autism and hyperactivity and things like that. But I agree with you. I just everybody learns differently, and we really need to learn to meet them. I mean, when I was in school, I absolutely hated school. I mean, what they were talking, I was really different. I have like dyslexia, so I learned differently too. I can barely spell, but I wrote a book. It's just about accommodating ways that we learn. Some people just have to learn through hands-on experience, which is, I think, the most powerful way to learn and integrate. So I totally agree with you of just happening.
Yeah, it just makes sense to learn from each other. I mean, if you think differently than me, I can pick up so much from you just by being with you,
Mm-hmm.
And like, even my son, when we connect, like when I connect with him, I have to literally put my hands on both sides of his face and say, okay, Kevin, look at me, look in the eyes, let's connect here, right? And when I know that he's finally looking at me and he's connected, he's there. I can reach him. You know what I mean? And autism is a gift. I think autism is a gift to our world, and I think stigma has um, has crushed their spirit because they're born beautiful, and
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden they've been convinced that something's wrong with them, because they don't have the the same thought process. They'll pick up a pencil and lick it instead of use it. You know what I mean? And that makes
Mm-hmm.
them weird, that makes them crazy, that makes them not fit in, right? And that's stigma, and that's what I'm so passionate about to make a difference, is
Mm-hmm.
let's embrace everyone and rise up together. We're all equal, we're all in this together. Do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we're all the students of life and the teachers of its lesson. So when you go through life and you look at it like that, you can free yourself from all the limiting of our society, because not everybody fits in a checkbox. We try to, but then it just causes resistance and pain within us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I can tell you, Chantelle, 2 months ago, I wasn't here. This, I'm evolving, and this group I created is helping me evolve. And 2 months ago, I was at my lowest part. I actually was slowly dying because well, first of all, my son's autism is genetic, so I'm the carrier. I have it. My beautiful daughter has it as well. So it affects three of us, and we're in this journey to help others worldwide together. But I started to have some medical conditions, which was panic attacks, anxiety, and chronic vertigo. And it was really difficult for me to drive because I just couldn't do it. So
Mhm.
I went to a doctor, and they diagnosed me basically as having um, brain aneurysms and a pituitary developmental, meaning I've had it since birth, growth that um, is in my pituitary. So, like I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do with my kids? What am I going to do in my future? I'm dying. I was doing research, Google, trying to figure
Mhm.
it all out. And then I thought, one night it came to me that this is stupid. I'm ruining my life. Like, and the other thing is my son, talk about connections. When I was at my lowest point, he ended up in psychiatry intensive care unit in our community for 1 month.
Oh wow.
So he felt, I believe, well, I know actually, he felt my pain. He knew how low that I went or I was going, and he couldn't cope himself. He didn't have his mom. His mom wasn't available for him anymore. So it was then when he was in the hospital, I had lots of time on my hands, that I decided to create the face or go live with my story and then create this Facebook group. And this is how I met you. So how awesome is that?
Yeah, I think it's all very, I think it's great. So how did you pull yourself back into being more in alignment with yourself a little
Well,
bit?
funnily enough, I got messages in my dreams, and I woke up super excited and thought, I need to free myself. I need to free myself from all of this pain and suffering.
Right.
And the unknown, right? Like not knowing what my future holds for me. And so I just did a selfie of myself on video and explained, that we need to make a difference. When Kevy was in the hospital, I saw things that were so sad. So many people that just wanted to connect, but they're crazy, you know. Nobody would connect
Yeah.
with them. I gave them a smile every time I saw them when I'd go visit Kev, and and I just knew there was something I had to do. I knew that it was bigger. I knew that with my story, my son's story, we could help others to shine their lights, to get out of the dark, to face their pain and suffering. So that's how that's how I started. And then the messages just kept coming and coming and coming, and the ideas are nonstop. So yeah.
That's that definitely seems to happen when you open up to service, then it just all starts to flood in and flow in, and then you feel good because because we are one. We're one collective consciousness. And as far as like with autistic children, you can see that very sensitive, as you know, almost where they don't even require verbal language.
Exactly.
You know, because they very well could just be very much in their spirit, trying to be in the physical realm, and that's hard just for a regular or anybody. So it is interesting us trying where they're at. Do you ever find that you can have telepathic communication with him? Like you could just kind of know what he's feeling or thinking without actually him verbalizing?
We definitely have a connection.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, I could say nothing and he'll know exactly what's on my mind. Yeah, like he'll say, Mom, what's wrong? You know, like when I wasn't available for him,
Mm-hmm.
it it was very noticeable for him, but I was so I guess down and out myself that I pushed him away. And that's, I think, what caused him to, because I mean, he's my world, he's my life. I you know, like the everything that I've learned about me is through him. So when I got, not selfish, but when I was going through my low points, I focused more on, you know, trying to figure things out, and I shouldn't. He definitely felt my energy. And
Well, you had to take time before you were able to be there for anybody else. So I hope you don't carry any guilt for that.
no, you know what? I don't carry any guilt. I have no regrets. I know that I needed to go through that and purge all of that in order for me to help others. I mean, I know, I mean, I love myself. I love everything about me, all my imperfections, all my diagnoses, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just being me, and I'm just, you know, like, and I'm teaching Kevin to love himself. Like, that's the one thing he says all the time is, I love myself. I love my family. I love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's videos of Kevin actually. Actually, yesterday we did a video of him singing. One of my warrior friends sent me a little clip of Born to Be Alive, that song, Born. You know, do you know this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Valentine's Day, so we just decided to kind of have some fun, and he was dancing. And I said,
Oh,
Kev, you know, and so yeah, you'll have to watch it. He just makes me smile all the time. So
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's the purpose. So yeah. So tell me a little bit about where you're seeing yourself, and as far as, you know, like if you were to leave this universe, what would your message be to the world, or our people?
That, well, first off, a temporary experience. So, you know, the idea is to be present and also to remember that we are all one, experiencing, you know, each other through each other. It is not just a cliche, it's an energy, it's a vibration that when you align to it, you can be present in your human existence, with more joy, present with people instead of just struggling through life, like you're just grasping just to get through it. And that you're definitely not alone. So I would say basically remember that we're one, it's temporary, and to, you know, when we judge another, we're judging ourselves. I look at everything as a lesson, and just
Yeah.
be more unconditionally loving, because I see everything as energy. So when we start collecting resistances like judgments or emotions, we were kind of taught, don't feel your emotions, suppress them. But it's far less painful to dip into those emotions that temporarily don't feel as what we've been taught. It's just to learn to move through everything without attachments to what is right, what is wrong, because honestly, who really knows? I
Oh,
mean,
yes, everything you're saying is exactly my thoughts. We're connected.
yeah, definitely.
Totally. Yes, it's so true. Yeah, yeah.
I just feel that we've been gifted this opportunity as our souls to expand and grow and strengthen the light within us. Our soul stream strengthens, and after we get through being humans and we've kind of mastered the lessons of how to manage our emotions and our thoughts and to integrate our higher self into our animal self, then I feel that we get to go and to explore other aspects of the universe possibly. I do a lot of past life, so I can see the healing that will take place when someone's carrying something in from a past incarnation that they just didn't resolve in that life. And through the we can heal it just because we're able to integrate it as a lesson from a higher perspective. We can just look down and say, oh, I get it now. So I just feel like it's all about growth and evolution, and it's a gift, and it's not, it's not like I had somebody ask me the other day, well, in God judging you or going to heaven and hell, and I was like, no, I don't believe in a judgmental God, but I do believe in the energy law. We reap what we sow, and as we move through life, we can collect more resistances that we have to learn by moving through and growing through, and then we can transcend them once we understand them and we expand and love to them. It takes work. It's not easy. It's definitely self-mastery, but you can get there. There's a lot of people waking up right now doing this integration, purifying so much, and it's can be a very destructive process, but you get to start over with a clear vision of yourself.
Yeah.
What you are,
Yeah. Do you know, life isn't meant to be easy, I don't think, right? And like you say, we're to learn lessons, and I think one of the hardest lessons for us to learn is to let go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
our ego thinks that that we need to hold on to things, but when you go into your higher spiritual mind, you can see that you don't have to do that.
no, exactly, because yeah, we're one, we're all right, like, yeah. No, it's like I say, I've been learning so much just from my group, and different things that are happening to me as I'm moving forward. And it's so important to know that we're not alone. We're never alone in our pain and suffering, and to reach out and like to educate our young ones, like the children. I really want to focus somehow on that too, for early intervention, to implement some kind of curriculum into our schools worldwide on mindfulness, on compassion, on empathy, on acceptance, and coming always from a place of our heart, right?
No, I'm the same as you. I like to have a curriculum of energy awareness implemented as far as mindfulness as well, to teach the physics of the universe and the fundamentals of why, when you teach the science, so that they can really digest it and integrate it, because children already know this innately, but from 0 to 7 they pick up everything in the world imprints. So if you give them those keys of remembrance about, thoughts actually are things. We live in a mental universe. We have the science to prove that. So, like the emotional science, the intelligence of being with your feelings, because other kids will suppress their emotions and they go project it upon someone who's perceived as weaker.
Yeah.
It's like the cycle that could be eradicated through just awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And having like leadership programs for the kids that are at a higher level in far as their emotional and social, you know, where they can take the ones that are struggling, that aren't okay, and take them under their wing and be a leader be a role model for them and teach them what, you know what I mean? Like, just there needs to be more of that, because I think a lot of our pain and suffering as adults is from when we were children and we were convinced somehow that we weren't lovable, we weren't worthy, there was something wrong with us. You know, like all those things. We're stupid. Mine was always, I'm stupid. I'm not good enough, right? Like, you know, those insecurities, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. And we end up living our lives based off of those, which are basically just subconscious programs that play over and over, go out and do things that we really would want to do because we feel limited. And so that's what I help a lot of people with hypnosis with that, to go in and to let that go.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Because I think it's the worst. I think that's the fundamental thing that we all have to navigate life in a healthy way, is we have to get to love ourselves, and that can be just like a daunting thing, but it's essential, because if you don't love yourself, you're going to keep getting all of these experiences to help you learn to love yourself.
Exactly.
Like, your cup is full, you start attracting all these beautiful experiences, and you know, you just value yourself. We are enough, we are worthy. We have in for us reflections, and if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have the opportunity to grow, expand, or explore. So when you look at everything like that, you know, and we live in a very commercialized and marketed, artificial senses of beauty and what it is to be, you know, society just uses our energy to fuel their reality, basically.
Yeah.
So once we kind of get to step out of all of that pool that we've been programmed, and we just can come into our own stream of loving ourselves, it really starts, because we're with ourselves until the end. So if we're self-talk is the number one thing that creates depression, is we get, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm stupid. And it's a cycle, and it's an energy that you just are contracting, and you're separating yourself from the flow. And so that's the slippery slope. And it can feel weird when you say, I'm enough, I love myself, and you might feel like you're faking it, but you got to keep watering those seeds.
Yeah.
So,
you know, funnily enough, Chantelle, one of the things I've been doing on my group, because I have been actually helping quite a few warriors on, like, privately, and I've been telling them, you know, that they have to do, it's work. It's going to take work to commit to it. And one of the things that I've been telling them is that they need to trick their brain, like do a different, like mind shift their thoughts, so that everything that they allow into their sacred space, which is our mind, comes from a positive place. So basically, I did a video of myself doing positive affirmations, and then put it onto my group, as well as did a piece of paper with all of the affirmations so that they can have the paper as well. And it's, the way I sort of thought about it is, it's connecting the subconscious with the conscious, right? So, and I tell them to say it out loud, like do it 10 times a day. I am powerful, I am healthy, I am strong, I am love, you know, like all the powerful affirmations. And I've been doing that with me, myself, for my health. Like, I am healthy, I am strong, I am warrior. And I do, like, I still have my anxiety, everything, but I feel like I can manage it better. Like, I've got it controlled. I don't know how to explain it, but do you know what I mean?
No, I totally do. So the science of the spoken word, you know, I am, it's and laying an imprint for creation to start taking place. But what I found is if we're saying affirmations, but there's a deep root cause, those affirmations are not true, because there's going to be this resistance. So like you can do a regression, a quick regression. It doesn't have to be just to go back to the place where that first thought was. And then the alchemy takes place by when the person is actually looking at where, oh, my mom said I was stupid one day. And you get guided in, and then you can understand it. And then it is actually integrated. And then when you're saying those affirmations, you can believe them because you understand this wasn't me, that was them that put that. The deeper healing takes place when we address the root cause. Otherwise,
Right.
I am lovable, I am fabulous, and we don't really resonate with the energy of it, because old energy. So that proved to be quite helpful too. It's just addressing the core issue.
So it's getting deep underneath the cause of it.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
Because otherwise it's just like a Band-Aid. So if you really want to be free of that energy, we look at it through the lens of our awareness. And then it's pretty quick. It's just gone. You're like, oh, I get it. I was in school and someone said I was ugly, and I started living based of thinking I'm ugly. I even made myself uglier so I wouldn't attract people to me. So it's just incredible how the mind locks on, and then we build. So, but the beautiful thing is we can make some changes though.
Totally.
And it doesn't have to be years and years of therapy. I mean, it can be real quick.
Yeah. 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 Well, I'm working on myself. I'm healing myself, and I'm doing it the spiritual way rather than the right.
Yeah, I think you're doing it right.
Yeah, I believe in it. Now the other thing that I wanted to touch base with you is mental health is health. So we've got chronic illness, physical illness, mental illness, and our diabetes, heart, and the big ones, right? The terminal illnesses. Do you believe that illness is caused by blocked energy, like you say, trauma from our
yeah, I think that a large part of it is our bodies take direct cues from our thought processes. And to back that up, we are born with genetics, but the study of epigenetics is a fabulous and wonderful and very inspiring study. I don't know if you know about it, but genetics is the study of how genes are expressed one gene in one environment will express, and that same gene may not express. So I would recommend if anybody's listening, is to read The Biology of Belief. So what it's basically our beliefs create the environment for our genes to either express or not to express. So we all have a lot of codes in our DNA, but they're not all active or activated. And so literally shows us that somebody who has a belief system that they're healthy and they're vibrating at a high frequency, and that there's cues to their body in directing their cells, almost, that they are living a very harmonious physical and mental experience. Whereas somebody who's very much locked or fear or limited thinking, that it creates a more toxic, acidic environment. Now, of course, there's a lot of different layers of the foods we put into our body and things like that. The idea that our minds really are creative entities that within themselves, we have the science now to show it. And Dr. Emoto, do you know who he is with the water molecule experiment?
Yes.
It shows that the power of intention and positive thought creates harmony within the water within our body. We're coming online to really understand that this isn't just an inspirational idea, it's actually physics. And that's really empowering and very exciting. So
I've just started getting into the quantum physics, and I joined I don't know how you say it, Gaia. Have you heard of Gaia or GA?
Um,
It's the network spirituality channel.
I probably have. I don't. I'm sure if it's a new conscious or just raising consciousness, I think that's probably what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's like all the big spiritual leaders like Bruce Lipton and yeah, I've been watching Bruce Lipton. I can't remember everyone that's on there, but it's
No, I love him and his work. So I like to always share the equity because people think that we're just victims of our experience, and pharmaceutical companies would sure like us to believe that.
oh totally because yeah, exactly. They're yeah. No, yeah, Bruce Lipton, he taught me a lot actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Like it totally makes sense to me. So, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, good. So, are you planning to do any more books or?
Um, I said no. I never thought I would write a book, to be honest, because I told you I can barely spell.
Yeah.
um, but it kind of came through. I'm moving into speaking and groups and trying to facilitate grounding more energy within local communities. So going on other ladies. One's a psychic medium. One's a nurse who does tapping. Have you ever tried tapping with your son?
No, no,
You
I
might
have
you want to write that down for autism. But
tapping.
and
Okay.
it's working with the nervous system and the energy of removing. So it's very fascinating. It helps a lot of people. So it's very simple to do too.
Okay.
Um, so that's just kind of where I'm at now. And I've also been working on a children's program to get into the basic fundamental, like simplifying my book that I have and just making it very kid friendly so that they can understand it.
Oh,
And so I think prisons really need some attention because those are huge pockets of condensed energies of fear, hatred, judgment, and anger, and speaking with them and just empowering them back to because we're a product of our environment until we seek beyond it. So yeah.
yeah.
But,
Even if you can plant just teeny little seeds, right? To give them that little glimmer of light, right? Because the thing, I think the most important thing for all of us to do is listen to understand because we've never walked in anyone else's shoes. We don't know, right? We don't know what it's like to be in their mind
exactly.
and to meet them where they're at. So if they're angry and like not in a good space, then that's where we have to meet them, right?
Think about being in a prison. How could you be happy there?
Exactly. Yeah. Like
And
smile, go in there smiling, hey, how's it going? No, no, no.
it's
Yeah.
just such a but I think a lot of transformational work can take place when you have nothing else to do but to go within. So when they do come out, they might feel a little more equipped for life and remember that this too shall pass and have a new start.
And tell me, Chantelle, when you help other people and you know that you've helped them, what's the feeling that you get?
Well, it's definitely a blessing. I mean, when you're helping another, you're helping yourself. And I grow through working with people on such a level that as an empath, I myself energetically from going because I've always been the type of person that people want to share their stuff with, and I'm good with that. I love listening and helping people, but there was a time where I was taking on everybody's stuff. For me, I wasn't strong enough to not absorb their stuff. But at this point in my life, I could be around all kinds of things, and it doesn't penetrate me anymore. Um, I had to be able to get to that space before I could really ever help anybody, and so. But it is very joyful to see someone just let go of something that's been controlling their lives and they get and
Yeah,
live a better.
yeah, 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 yeah. And that's one thing that, like with this group, I am helping quite a few people and I don't let it get to me. The only thing I am a little bit concerned about is here's my ego a little bit, but naive, right? Being naive or vulnerable. So I'm working on that,
Well,
right?
that's, I think that you're aware, right in cue of being in your heart. And if you're coming from your heart and you're just genuinely trying to help, I mean, another person, you know,
Yeah,
if your ego flares to it, you know, I see you, but it's not about you, it's about the work that I'm doing, you know.
right,
So
right, exactly. Yeah,
when you
so
do inspire people, you know, they can form a bond with you and kind of put you on a pedestal, but that is the last place that we want to be. So I know what you mean by that.
yeah, exactly. So it's not about that for me.
Right.
I just, like I'm just passionate about it, and I just know. I don't even believe anymore. I know,
Yeah.
right? I don't know how to explain it other than that,
I
but
think that's
what else was I gonna say to you? Oh, so you're an empath, and you do hypnosis.
mm-hmm.
So okay, so here's the question I want to ask you, and it's personal for me, but it could relate to anybody else on my group. When you're dealing with an illness, what would what would be something that I should, like you said, tapping for Kevin, what would be something that we should be moving forward with as far as in our community, like if it's Reiki healing or whatever? What do you think?
You mean like in general of anybody who's dealing with an illness?
Yeah.
I would definitely first start with self-observation of what you're thinking,
Okay.
because you'd be surprised. We might think we're positive thinkers, and we might think we're positive speakers, but I'm a mirror for people, and I can hear how we talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically creating the blueprint for your experience through your thoughts, emotions, and the words you speak, and the pictures in our mind. We can make ourselves miserable and strong, miserable or weak or powerful and strong. The amount of energy is the same, but a lot of us just get into the groove of life, and so that would be the first thing. And also energy work, focusing on cleaning up your chakra system, your and attuned energetically, and meditation is extremely powerful. And self-hypnosis, people have healed cancer, all kinds of things just through the power of their mind. So
Perfect.
get your mind right, and the body should follow. And if it doesn't, it just might be a part of your path, you know.
Yeah. Perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so that'll be good for everybody that is dealing with an illness, because a lot of us are on this group. We have gone over our time. I hope
Uh,
it. I hope it's video. I hope the video keeps going. It's 11:43. So, is there anything else that you would like to say to the group? And then we'll sign off, because I don't even, yeah. I've never gone over.
I think it's still going. I've been on shows and it goes past an hour, so I think you're good.
Oh,
Unless
okay,
you,
perfect.
yeah, you should be fine. Um, for, you know, being vulnerable and stepping into your light and sharing it with others, because it can be lonely. People feel lonely, and being disconnected is one of the most painful places for human suffering. And we have a lot of autistic people on the planet, and they definitely deserve to shine just as much as anybody else, and for us to understand them a little more. So thank you for your work.
Awesome. Chantelle, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You
You as
are a
well.
warrior friend of mine forever and always now. And I will send you a copy of the link of the video, and you can share it with all of your friends as well and contacts.
Do that.
Okay, super. You have a fabulous day, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.